안녕하세요. Let's keep talking about objective clauses in Korean in this lesson. Let's go. I don't know why that woman is crying. You can call why that woman is crying part a relative clause and call why a relative adverb in English grammar, but you don't have to know that. Just why that woman is crying part is a clause and it's used as an object of the verb know. There are two ways to make a sentence like this in Korean. Well, there are more, but let's say just two for now. The first way is something you've already learned, and the second way is something new. The first way is to put a representative noun and turn a clause why that woman is crying into a clause modifier. For example, put the noun reason in it. We call it a representative noun which can be used with a relative adverb why together as a set. I don't know the reason why that woman is crying. Now, why that woman is crying part modifies a noun, the reason. Then you can see how the sentence structure is going to be in Korean, right? The second way is to add a new ending, 지. Let's talk about it more specifically very shortly. Let's take a look at the way you've already know first. I don't know the reason why that woman is crying. Let's rearrange the words. Now you can do that on your own, don't you? The subject I comes first, and why that woman is crying modifies a representative noun, the reason. Therefore, why that woman is crying part comes before the reason. The reason comes right before the predicative part because it's an object of the verb know or not know. And then the predicative part not know comes at the end. Let's not mention the main subject I. Why that woman is crying. You know, you don't translate why when the clause which includes why modifies something, right? So let's ignore it. That woman. Let's say we are watching this woman now, but she's not within touching distance. So you can use 저 sound for the determiner that. Woman is 여자. 저 여자. Let's add 분 to show some respect. 저 여자분. Let's add a subject particle 이 because it's the subject of the clause. 저 여자분이. 저 여자분이 is crying. It's in the present continuous tense, but let's just use the present tense. Yes, you can also use the actual present continuous tense, no problem. Just because of the lack of the space, present tense can cover present continuous tense in Korean, right? The basic form of the verb cry is 울다, 울다. 울 is the stem. You should add a 는 sound to turn a clause into a verb clause modifier in the present tense. But as you learned in lesson 6 part 2, when the last letter of the stem has l consonant as a final and meets 는 sound in the next vowel, final l consonant in the last letter of the stem disappears. So it becomes 우는, 우는 instead of 울는. Okay? 우는 is correct. The reason is EU. EU. It's an object of the verb know or an object of the entire sentence. Whatever you think it is. You can add the object particle 를 because it's an object. 이유를, 이유를, not know. The basic form of the verb not know in Korean is 모르다, but it becomes 몰라요, 몰라요, according to the irregular conjugation rule that we learned in lesson 6 part 2. That woman is crying. 저 여자분이 우는. The reason. 이유를 not know. 몰라요. 저 여자분이 우는 이유를 몰라요. It's a perfect sentence. You don't even have to learn the second way. Okay, let's take a look at the second way together then, if you insist. We can make a sentence like this using the connective ending 지. What is 지 then? It's a connective ending that you use to connect your question or assumption with a final judgment in the next clause. So, why that woman is crying is your question, and I don't know is the final judgment. When you use the ending 지, you use the same translation you used for interrogatives such as 왜, 어디, 언제, and etc. for why, where, when, and etc. Despite of the fact that they are not called interrogatives in English grammar. Let's learn the basic rule. The basic rule is pretty simple with one exception. Always this exception thing is a pain in the buttocks, right? Why that woman is crying part is a clause. So you can change the tense. First, present tense. When it's a verb, you add 는지 to the stem of a verb. It's easy to remember this one because stem plus 는 is the basic rule of a verb clause modifier in the present simple tense, right? So you just need to remember 지 sound. The same thing applies to adjectives. When there is no final consonant in the last letter of the stem, you add final ν consonant and 지 sound. When there is a final consonant in the last letter of the stem, you add 은 sound and 지 sound to the stem. So this stem plus ν consonant or 은 sound is the basic rule of an adjective clause modifier in the present simple tense, right? So it's relatively easy to remember. Next, past tense. This one is the problem. When a relative clause is in the past tense, you add past tense indicator at, had to the stem and add 는지, the same one we used for the present tense, 는지. Be careful, it's not just 지, it's 는지. This is the confusing part because we used 던 sound when we make a clause modifier in the past tense with a past tense indicator like 았던, 어떤, 했던. But this one would go like 앉는지, 얻는지, 했는지. Let's see some examples later together, then you feel much better. Next, future tense. This one is okay because we use the same rule that we used for a verb and adjective clause modifier in the future tense. So when there is no final consonant in the last letter of the stem, you add the final L consonant and 지 sound. When there is a final consonant in the last letter of the stem, you add 을 sound and 지 sound to the stem. Okay, let's see some examples together, then you will understand what we are talking about clearly. I don't know why that woman is crying. When you want to use this connective noun 지, which is used to connect your question with a final judgment, you can regard relative adverbs or relative pronouns such as why in this sentence as interrogatives. Place them in the position of an interrogative and even use the same translation of the interrogative in Korean. It's almost like you're treating why that woman is crying part as our interrogative sentence. You can also think that this is the way that we translate relative adverb or relative pronoun directly into Korean without changing the sentence. So we are going to use 왜, which is the translation of the interrogative why. Let's rearrange the words. The main subject I comes first, but we are not going to use it. Why that woman is crying part is still an object of the verb know. Before we put it right before the verb know, let's rearrange the words in this relative clause. That woman is the subject of the clause, so it comes first. Where's the right position for why? Well, actually, you can put it anywhere as you can put any interrogative anywhere in the sentence because of the fact that it has its own strong meaning. But we told you that if you want to have a fixed rule, you can put why right after a subject. So let's put why right after the subject of the clause, that woman. Is crying is the predicative part of the relative clause. So let's put it at the end of the clause. I That woman, why, is crying. Not know. Let's not mention the subject I. That woman, 저 여자분이. Why, where. This time we translate this why into where. It's mainly because of the connective ending 지. Its original usage is related to a question in the first place. So it is not strange to see the direct translation of why, where, with the connective ending 지. Is crying. Let's just use the present simple tense this time again. 울 plus 는 becomes 우는 and 지, 우는지. That woman, why, is crying. 저 여자분이 왜 우는지. This that woman, why, is crying part is an object of the verb know. So let's add the object particle 를. 저 여자분이 왜 우는지를 not know, 몰라요. 저 여자분이 왜 우는지를 몰라요. Then let's get rid of the object particle 를 and make it sound more colloquial. 저 여자분이 왜 우는지 몰라요. 저 여자분이 왜 우는지 몰라요. We guess most of the time it sounds colloquial without the object particle 를 or 을. Then why do we keep using this? Because it's easier for you to not use something you already know than to use something you don't know. There are also many cases that sounds awkward without the object particles. Then let's use the actual present continuous tense. Is crying. The stem is 울. In order to turn it into the present continuous tense, you should add ending 고 있어요, right? But you need to add another ending 는 and 지. So you need to get rid of 어요 sound, which doesn't have a particular meaning in it, and add 는지 to the remained 고 it sound. 울고 있는지, 울고 있는지. It is the stem of 있다, which means exist or current status keeps remaining going on. You know that. So 저 여자분이 왜 울고 있는지 몰라요. 저 여자분이 왜 울고 있는지 몰라요. Yes, it sounds perfect. Let's see the next sentence. I know where that man lives. Let's reposition the words. I, that man, where, lives. No. Where indicates a place where the action of living actually takes place. So you can put it right after the subject of the relative clause, that man. That man. Let's say you are looking at the man, but he's not within touching distance. So you can use 저 sound for the determiner that. Man is 남자. 저 남자. Let's add a subject particle 가. 저 남자가. Where? What is the translation of the interrogative where? Yes. 어디. 어디. Of course, you can add a particle 에서 because the verb leave is also an action. No problem. Plus, strangely, this Korean verb which means to leave goes well with our location particle 에. So you can use either 에 or 에서 if you want. Let's just not use any of them here. 어디 is just fine. Leaves. The basic form of the verb leave is 살다. The stem is 살. We need to turn it into a verb clause modifier form in the present simple tense to add 지 sound. But when there is final l consonant in the last letter of the stem and it meets 는 sound in the next block, the final l consonant disappears. So it becomes 사는, 사는 instead of 살는, 사는, 사는지. That man where lives. 저 남자가 어디 사는지. The entire that man where lives part is an object of the verb know. So you can add the object particle 를. 저 남자가 어디 사는지를. 저 남자가 어디 사는지를 know. 알아요. You can get rid of the object particle in spoken Korean. 저 남자가 어디 사는지 알아요. But if you want to emphasize the fact that the place where he lives is the thing that I know, you shouldn't get rid of the object particle. 저 남자가 어디 사는지를 알아요. Just keep that in mind. We are not sure if you want to learn something new again, but this one is really useful. Maybe it's not that useful for you right now, but it's used a lot by native Koreans at least. The prefinal ending, ket. What is the prefinal ending? Prefinal ending is something you add between a stem and a final ending to add an extra nuance or meaning. You've seen this prefinal ending before when you learn about the future tense. 겠어요, 겠어요. But we guess you don't remember because we haven't used it that much. Anyway, let's see the usage of this prefinal ending ket one by one. First, this ket sound is used to indicate that you hope, think, or have evidence that something is going to happen or be the case in the future. This is exactly about the future tense you learned in lesson 4, right? Or attempt to give an answer or provide an opinion. Let's see the next usage. To indicate someone's intention or determination to do something. And this one is also something you already learned in lesson 4. It's the usage of modal will when it's used to indicate someone's intention or determination to do something. Next one, to indicate someone's ability or possibility to do something. Okay, this one is new. Ability and possibility. It will take you a while to understand this, so just nod your head twice and keep going. Next one, to ask for something rather neutrally, which means less polite than politely and more polite than impolitely. If you use this pre-final ending ket sound when you ask someone for something, it would sound neutral or modest. Well, a little bit polite, but it wouldn't sound very polite. Do you understand the nuance? But it's not impolite at all, not at all. In order to sound more polite, you should add more element though. But you haven't reached that level yet. Let's use this to the actual sentence. That woman, why, is crying, not know. 저 여자분이 왜 우는지를 몰라요. We just used 몰라요, right? The original basic form of the verb not know is 모르다. The original stem is 모르. Let's add ket sound to the stem and then add 어요 at the end. 모르겠어요. 모르겠어요. 저 여자분이 왜 우는지를 모르겠어요. You don't know how it sounds like, do you? It sounds a little bit modest than just 몰라요. Okay? Let's see the study tip together. Koreans use 모르겠어요 much more often than just 몰라요 when they want to say not know. 몰라요 sounds like just I don't know. It could sound a little bit sarcastic or cynical sometimes. 모르겠어요 is used more often when you don't really know the answer to a certain question. It's mainly because ket sound make the answer sound neutral or a little bit polite with the nuance of not having ability to know the answer. I don't know how that man came here. We can see how in the clause this time. Let's rearrange the words. The subject I comes first. The entire how that man came here part comes right before the predicative part not know as an object. Let's rearrange the words in the relative clause. The subject of the clause, that man, comes first. An adverb here is a destination, so it can come right before the verb came. or the method how can be directly related to the verb came. So either can come right before the verb came. Let's just put here first and then put how. Of course, you can swap the position, no problem. And then the verb of the clause came comes at the end. I, that man, here, how came, not know. Let's not mention the subject I. Of course, you can mention it if you want. That man. Let's say you can see the man, but he's not within touching distance. So you can use 저 sound for the determiner that. Man is 남자. Let's add 분 sound to show that you are such a polite person. And add the subject particle 이. 저 남자분이. 저 남자분이. Here is 여기. 여기. It's not an adverb in Korean. It's a pronoun. So you can add a destination and location particle 에. 여기에. But even though you don't add a particle 에, it will sound fine because the pronoun 여기 also contains the strong meaning of a place. How? 어떻게? You didn't forget, right? 어떻게? Came. It's in the past tense. The basic form of the verb come is 오다. The stem is 오. It has yang vowel 오. So you need to add one of the past tense indicators, at sound with the same yang vowel 아, to put it in the past tense, and add 는 and 지, 는지. 오 plus at plus 는 plus 지. But since the stem O doesn't have any final consonant, it has to be combined with at sound. O at, what. It becomes what sound. So 왔는지 is correct. 왔는지. The man here, how came. 저 남자분이 여기에 어떻게 왔는지. The entire clause is an object of the main verb, not know. So you can add the object particle 를. 저 남자분이 여기에 어떻게 왔는지를 not know. The basic form of the verb not know in Korean is 모르다. 모르 is the stem. Let's add get to sound a little bit neutral, modest, and polite. And add 어요 instead of 아요 because the formal block get has 에 vowel. You know you add 아요 only when there is 오 or 아 vowel in the formal block, right? So it's 모르겠어요. 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 저 남자분이 여기에 어떻게 왔는지를 모르겠어요. 저 남자분이 여기에 어떻게 왔는지를 모르겠어요. In spoken Korean, it sounds okay without the object particle. 저 남자분이 여기에 어떻게 왔는지 모르겠어요. You know, you can use a representative noun to make this sentence like, I don't know the way that man came here. If you rearrange the words, it would go like, that man here came. The way, not know. In this case, the clause, that man here came part gets to modify the representative noun, the way. That man, 저 남자분이, here, 여기에, came. What did we add to turn a verb into a modifier in the past tense? Yes, the final 느 consonant or 어떤, 했던 sound. This sentence doesn't imply the meaning of not anymore. Therefore, let's just use final 느 consonant. The stem is O. O plus final 느 consonant becomes 온. 저 남자분이 여기에 온. The way, 방법. Now the way is the object of the verb not know. So let's add the object particle 을. 방법을 not know. 모르겠어요. 저 남자분이 여기에 온 방법을 모르겠어요. 저 남자분이 여기에 온 방법을 모르겠어요. Well, the exact meaning of two sentences can be slightly different, but you can still use either of them. Just so you know that, 저 남자분이 여기에 어떻게 왔는지 모르겠어요. Sounds slightly better. Let's see the next sentence. I don't know when Suji is going to leave tomorrow. Let's rearrange the words first. The subject I comes first. The entire when Suji is going to leave tomorrow comes right before the predicative part, not know, as an object. We need to rearrange the words in the relative clause. Suji is the subject of the clause, therefore it comes first. Tomorrow and when both are time-related words, but when indicates more specific time than tomorrow. So let's put tomorrow first and then put when. And then let's put predicated part is going to leave at the end of the clause. I, Suji, tomorrow, when is going to leave, not know. Let's not mention the subject I. Suji is just 수지. Let's add a subject particle 가. 수지가. Tomorrow is 내일. It can be both a noun and an adverb in Korean. Therefore, you don't need to add a time-related particle 에 this time. When is 언제, as you know, is going to leave. The basic form of the verb leave is 떠나다. 떠나다. 떠나 is the stem. You can use final l consonant or 을 sound plus 예정이에요 for be going to. But you can just add final l consonant or 을 sound to tell it's going to happen in the future. The last letter of the stem 나 sound of 떠나 doesn't have a final consonant. Therefore, you just need to add a final l consonant. 떠나 plus l consonant becomes 떠날, 떠날. And add 지, 떠날지, 떠날지. Suji, tomorrow, when, is going to leave. 수지가 내일, 언제, 떠날지. The entire 수지가 내일 언제 떠날지 is an object of the verb not know. So you can add an object particle 를. 수지가 내일 언제 떠날지를 not know. 모르겠어요. 수지가 내일 언제 떠날지를 모르겠어요. Don't know when Suji is going to leave tomorrow. In spoken Korean, you can get rid of the object particle. It will sound just fine. 수지가 내일 언제 떠날지 모르겠어요. 수지가 내일 언제 떠날지 모르겠어요. But remember that if you want to emphasize the object, you better add an object particle. 수지가 언제 떠날지를 모르겠어요. Very good. I don't know what women want. This time we use the relative pronoun what in the clause. You know where you put the main subject I and the main predicated part not know. Then let's rearrange the words in the clause. Women comes first because it's a subject of the clause. What takes the position of an object, and you know why. The verb of the clause want comes at the end. So I, women what want, not know. Women, a woman is 여자. Plural women is 여자들. Let's use the plural form 여자들 this time, even though it indicates women as a group. If you use a singular form 여자, it could sound like you are indicating one particular woman. But if you don't want to make an exception, you can still use a singular form 여자. It's mainly because it's used as a subject. For example, if you want to say I like women in Korean, a singular form is preferred. In this case, 여자들 sounds fine. And let's add a subject particle 이. 여자들이. What is 무엇? Yes, you use the same translation you used for an interrogative what. And it's an object of the verb of the clause want. So let's add the object particle 을. 무엇을. 무엇을. Want. The basic form of the verb want is 원하다. 원하 is the stem. It's in the present simple tense, so let's simply add 는. 원하는. Because we use the same translation that we used for the interrogative what, we should add 지 sound. It's like we are directly translate English relative pronoun what. 원하는지. Okay? The entire women what want. 여자들이 무엇을 원하는지 is an object of the main verb not know. So let's add the object particle again. 여자들이 무엇을 원하는지를 여자들이 무엇을 원하는지를 not know 모르겠어요. 여자들이 무엇을 원하는지를 모르겠어요. Or guys know what women want, but they just don't have it. Anyway, let's make it sound colloquial. When you actually speak, you often drop object particles. Let's get rid of one of the object particles from 지. And 무엇 can be shortened to 뭐. You know that. 여자들이 뭐를 원하는지 모르겠어요. 여자들이 뭐를 원하는지 모르겠어요. Sounds good. 뭐를 can be shortened to 뭘. 뭘. One more time. You've never seen this before, so take a good look at it. 뭐 with the object particle 를 can be shortened to 뭘, and it's used a lot. 여자들이 뭘 원하는지 모르겠어요. 여자들이 뭘 원하는지 모르겠어요. This one sounds perfect. You can use this one in a real-life conversation. If you're not a big fan of object particles, you can get rid of all the object particles. 여자들이 뭐 원하는지 모르겠어요. It sounds just fine. Okay, let's see the next sentence. I know who ate my pie. We used who as a subject of the clause, and the entire who ate my pie part is an object of the main verb know. Let's rearrange the words. You know the position of the main subject and verb. The entire clause comes right before the verb because it's used as an object of the main verb know. Let's rearrange the words in the clause. Who comes first because it's used as a subject. My pie comes next because it's used as an object of the clause. Ate comes at the end of the clause. I, who my pie ate, know. Let's not mention the subject I. Who. It's used as a relative pronoun, but you don't have to know that. Anyway, who is used as a subject of the clause. So you should use 누가, with the subject particle 가, instead of 누구. You know that. My pie, 제 파이를. We added the object particle 를 because it's an object of the clause. Ate. The basic form of the verb eat is 먹다. 먹 is the stem. It has a vowel, therefore you should add a past tense indicator, ot sound with the same in vowel and add 는, 먹었는, and 지, 먹었는지, who my pie ate, 누가 제 파이를 먹었는지. Yes, you can add the object particle 를, 누가 제 파이를 먹었는지를, 누가 제 파이를 먹었는지를. know, 알아요. 누가 제 파이를 먹었는지를 알아요. 누가 제 파이를 먹었는지를 알아요. Then let's get rid of the object particle 를 from 지 sound and add get sound to the main verb know and see how it sounds. 누가 제 파일을 먹었는지 알겠어요. 누가 제 파일을 먹었는지 알겠어요. Because of the nuance of providing an opinion and ability and asking for something neutrally that get sounds has, the sentence sounds like you've just found out who ate your pie and provide your opinion in modest manner. Okay, this is the end of YouTube version lesson 6 part 10. We'll make some sentences based on what you've learned in lesson 6 so far to help you understand better in the next videos. 그럼 다음 비디오에서 만나요. 안녕히 계세요.